play with people intelligence the way they play with people intelligence and intellect. You know, the way they do today. You know, people are telling lies for a living. You know what I mean?
You know what's the to me? There's a who pick who he fight with.
Right.
Like if you sit and you oh, I'm not going because this nigga.
Him, but I fuck him up.
Yeah, I think I can take him.
Right.
They ain't never check into nobody.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Just go to their hotel and move militant. You know what I'm saying? When you move around the city, bro, you gotta be careful. And that's just, we dealing with G-Unit. Had a lot of
Prince was recently confronted by Tony Yayo, who exposed what might be the biggest extortion plot in hip-hop history. When Prince tried to play the check-in game on him, 50 Cent refused to come fetch him, exposing the entire plot. The modest tension between Houston street power and Gunnett's militant code abruptly escalated into a full-fledged clash before it reached street-level seriousness. This dispute had been simmering in the background for years, yet to completely comprehend this situation, we need to go back to the start of the 50 Cent and Prince controversy. Rap-A-Lot Records founder Prince is basically a street-certified shot caller. In Houston, he's a silent storm, never overly loud and always in control. People in the city don't just respect Prince, they fear him. Not because he puts it in your face, but because his name carries that type of weight. If you were a creative person trying to, you run the danger of departing without your chain if you arrive in Houston without checking in. Even worse, that brings us to the artist 50 Cent, who never played mob games. Beginning with his early conflicts with Ja Rule, Irv Gotti, and the other members of the Murder Inc. circle, 50 had a reputation for never letting up. The confrontational mindset formed the foundation of his brand, G-Unit, establishing the ground rules early on. No kissing rings, no check-in, and definitely no security fee. Started making assumptions about the possibility of 50 Cent relocating to Houston, which was already setting the stage for a full-scale turf war since, should 50 Cent arrive in Houston without first consulting Prince, it would be a direct power clash. Do you know what took place? At first, their battle resembled a protracted Cold War. As his usual mastermind for trolling, 50 organized a party when he was in New York, while Prince held down H-Town like the unofficial mayor. Occasional jabs, but until 50 subtly disclosed something startling on Twitter, they never encroached on one another's area. I love New York, albeit I live in Houston now. I'll explain later. 50 chose not to move due to a lack of influence. He had big plans. Houston made financial sense because New York taxes were ruining his firm. Less taxes, more room, and a hip-hop scene that is growing and ready to expand. Branson Cognac wanted to establish a presence in the South, and the liquor business in Houston was booming. He had a vision. He utilized the culture to advance his business and return entertainment profits to the community, but he failed to check in, which was the problem. To that, Prince objected. He said that without really kissing the ring, he believed that 50 was trying to be king. After learning about Prince on the street, people began to exert pressure. Some even stated that he attempted to obtain $50 to cover the expense of street-level protection.
You know what's to me? There's a nigga who pick who he fight with.
Right.
Like if you sit and you oh, I'm not going because this nigga.
Him, but I fuck him up.
Yeah, I think I can take him.
Right.
You want to fight the nigga you think?
50 he wasn't interested in any of that. Out of respect, he told his men that G-Unit would not be extorted and that they would move with their own protection. The situation rapidly became out of control. Prince reportedly tried to establish a no-fly zone over Houston for 50, essentially saying, "You're not welcome here. It affects smaller artists, let's face it." But 50 he harassed Prince on Instagram. Similar to a promotional video for WWE, he was not playing mob games. Instead, he clowned the whole thing, as evidenced by memes with questionable captions and subliminal pictures. 50 directly challenged Prince to make contact. Behind the scenes, chaos was starting to set in. The $20 million G-Unit film and television studio that 50 had been building in Houston would have created jobs, internships, and enthusiasm for the neighborhood. But the plan was suddenly changed to Shreveport,
I got out there,
Louisiana.
they showed me a lot of love. But Shreveport had the infrastructure already here. Like even the tax incentive was put.
Well, yeah. And so a lot of people have been talking about, man, he's here only because they gave him a cheap deal or something like that. The reality is there's more to that deal than that. Way more.
They can't see.
Break that down.
I'm spending $20 million this year anyway in the same building that they're saying was the cheap building.
Right.
So find somebody else to spend 20.
And if you're paying attention, you already know the truth, even though 50 said that the infrastructure was better there. Street politics in Houston were getting out of hand. Moreover, 50 was not going to dance with snakes. The scenario turned into poetry at this point. Prince's attempt to force 50 out was not supported by Houston. In 2022, a year after his first touchdown, Houston was not merely tolerating him. They were paying tribute to him. The mayor of Sylvester Turner declared November 24th to be 50 Cent Day and gave 50 Cent an actual key to the city of Houston. At the yearly Thanksgiving Day parade, 50 received the hero treatment. Turner referred to 50 as an entrepreneur and humanitarian and thanked him for supporting high school students through his Unity initiative. The crowd erupted as 50 stood on that float as if he had been born and raised in the H.
To the city of Houston, but he didn't just come here to live. He has been helping out on so many causes in this city. And especially, he has been in our high schools, turning our high school students into entrepreneurs with his Unity Camp program. I've seen him firsthand. This city has been elevated because of his presence. And so today, we have the honor of saying to him, he's our 2022 Grand Marshal. Give it up to Curtis 50 Jackson. Now, before I call on him to speak, let me present you first a key to the city of Houston. Anywhere you go, 550 buildings, use the key, the door will swing wide open.
Oh, one that's not all though. By arranging toy drives and school donations in Turkey, he started to make a big impact on the community through his Unity Foundation 50. He even worked with the Houston Rockets, Texans, and Astros through his Sire Spirits company. In 2023, he donated toys totaling $850,000. In 2024, he helped raise $500,000 for the Houston Children's Charity. In 2024, for instance, he helped raise $500,000 after entering and starting to raise real figures. To benefit the Houston Children's Charity, he put 2 massive bottles of his La Chandura champagne up for sale, and the total revenue from the event was $6 million. Meanwhile, Prince was allegedly observing the events as if he were a deposed king. In the midst of the day, those who had formerly ruled the city from the shadows now had to watch someone else celebrate. This is Gunnet's most outspoken member, Tony Yayo. In a Vlad TV interview, Yayo finally gave an explanation for why they never played the check-in game. Interview 8098. 42. He claims that Gunnet had a reason for his militant movements. Interview 847-9. 40. He was given some advice for people in their 50s.
It's like the Fed's not playing.
Yeah.
All around the board. New York City, we used to the federal indictments, but now you see them, they doing it in Atlanta, state indictments, they doing it in LA. But yo, bro, you gotta think about it. People travel to LA, they wanna be in LA to be comfortable. A lot of them houses getting ran in, robbed, can't go to this place to go to go eat without getting a rodeo. When you see people getting robbed on rodeo, oh, you know
the entire check-in procedure is just a clever ploy to set up artists for extortion. When you check in, you have to pay or risk getting robbed.
Maybe we need to change the word for the youngsters. The checking in part, you know, is they seem to get hung up on that word checking in.
Yeah.
So if we could diversify that word and bring it up to a 2021 thing,
right?
What's the word, OG? What's the word?
Maybe we may want to tell them they need to get.
The idea that Jay Prince was supporting artists from Houston was the foundation of his entire reputation. He crowned himself king of town and instituted this fake, friendly system called checking in.
Stuck on stupid, right?
Yeah.
You're stuck on stupid, and you're not using your powers or access to powers that you have. You're looking at it as a negative versus a positive. You know, we all know if you can tap into good people wherever you go.
Wherever, yeah.
But I mean, it's a blessing, really.
Until you realize it's a glorified extortion scam, it appears benign. Artists who come to Houston are expected to contact JPRs. We mean to run their pockets and show them respect. Although it's meant to protect you and guarantee that your chain will be returned in the event that it disappears, chaos ensues if you fail to check in. Yayo brought up Pop Smoke's death as a warning. When artists depend on street connections or do not properly safeguard themselves, they become targets. Yayo made it clear that there are limitations on street security and that nobody is really there to assist in the event of an emergency. He even threatened to call the FBI, and because of all these connections to criminals and mobs. If the 1990s weren't Rico, suspicion surfaced when talking about artists being set up and mafia-level extortion. They weren't playing those games, Yayo said categorically. Instead of paying shady street characters back for favors, Gunnet would prefer to stay independent and dangerous. This is when it gets ugly, NBA. A young boy's spot was struck when he declined to check in after arriving in Houston on business. Car keys, cash, and chains were taken.
Don't turn me down. What you said? Don't turn me down. What you on, folks? Don't turn you down. Yeah, man. What you on, folks? What you mean what I'm on? What you on, man? What the deal there? What up? What up? You want to buy your shit back or what? You ain't get you flunked out ass little nigga. I'm trying to see where you at. You dumb mother. What you got? $20 out of car? Nah, nigga. You know what we got? Nigga, stop that cap. Man, crazy as a motherfucker. Nigga, capping, bro. They gonna believe anything. You want me to start my car? I just took a picture in the same car today with my little boy. You on this.
15. Jay Prince unexpectedly makes an appearance on Instagram and claims to have found the stolen goods. However, instead of calling the small youngster privately, he posted a video I possesses.
I got a call, you know what I mean, because the little homie young boy place got broke into. People went in his place, disrespected different things, and you know, I got a call about it. And the little homies that went into this place want to make that right because they understand that, you know what I mean, young boy family is okay with me. And as you can see, homie, to make a long story short, I got your keys to your Rolls Royce, I got your keys to your McLaren, you know, all that shit that they took, and the homie, Shakur, what you got, homie?
You got your Rolls Royce umbrellas, you got your keys, you got a bunch of other shit, so.
Provided a hard clap back. He asserted that Prince wouldn't be behaving like a 60-year-old clout seeker on Instagram if he really wanted to help.
Hey, I don't want no friends, I don't want no new relationships. All that. Hey, I don't respect none of that shit, man. If you got something for me, man, they got plenty of around me you could call. Man, nigga, it's plenty ways you can get in touch with me. Man, don't get on no internet and do nothing publicly. Don't do nothing dealing with no publicity, none of that pussy and shit. And I'm good on the keys, gangster. When you buy shit cash, two keys come with the car anyway. Man, you
Cameron and Mace also filled in for continuing to act as though he rules the streets. Jay Prince is being dragged. Relux uplift, not extort, they said.
You're dealing with older people. They're the last to know that things have changed. We not your little niggas. Like, the way you talking, I don't get what you mean. We're not your little niggas. Like, for real, all that big homie stuff, that's for little niggas. Little niggas have big homies. We're not little niggas, so we don't even respect big homies. I know Killer doesn't, and for me, I never respected niggas in the streets. That's why I always got the problem.
Furthermore, if you're in your 60s and still playing mob boss, you've failed. Dice games are Jay Prince's second favorite activity after intimidation. These high-stakes games are well known in Houston. For years, there have been allegations that they are set up to trap artists, but not for the reasons you think. The most catastrophic example is Takeoff. We all remember how Takeoff was killed when one of these dice games turned into a shootout. Speculations, however, suggest that the real events were not random. Sources claim that after Takeoff, Prince became irate and asked his crew to teach them a lesson after Quo made a mistake in checking in. It was supposed to be something small. It was a little frightening, but it was deadly. Prince deftly avoided accountability after Takeoff's death.
Nothing should have happened. What do you say to that?
What I would say to that is, I have a track record, man. In the Prince family, I have a track record of 30 plus years of, honoring and loving on our guests and being with our guests, and no shit like this never happened. But here's the thing, and this is what people don't understand. We ain't never had nobody to attack us. You know what I mean? When a man attack a situation with a weapon, then, it become a playing field where, any and everything.
06 He avoids mumbles whenever someone says something and tries to minimize everything. In effect, he admitted that he had erased the proof.
When Mike and Junior was walking by, he actually went in the restroom to wash blood off his hand where he had reached up on the Takeoff. He had to pick him up and his fingers went in it. Blood.
Expected. There were more casualties besides Takeoff. Duke the jeweler remembers thinking he had the best night of his life after winning $100,000 in a dice game. But before he could get to his car, he was robbed, ambushed, and tragically slain. Suddenly, a corrupt code of honor and game rigging were revealed by another talented black man. Consequently, when you pair this with 50 Cent Community Center construction, and when it comes to feeding people in Houston, there is no dispute about who is making the biggest contribution. While the other is allegedly collecting evidence while keeping the streets in a chokehold through the use of 1,950 seconds trolls and outdated terror tactics, one is allegedly leaving a legacy. He is allegedly talking to people behind the scenes to gather proof that the check-in process is a total extortion scam. He has alluded to the possibility of federal involvement, which would be game over 50. Possesses the ability to play chess. A bluffer is not what he is. Although he is now making memes, he may be preparing a lawsuit or archiving receipts for the eventual takedown. One post, one leak, and one Fed tip might terminate Prince's entire run. One man owns the city, another the streets, but only one is winning the war. When Prince was allegedly trying to evict musicians from Houston, 50 Cent did more than just move there. He took over the city. 50 arrived, received commendation from the mayor, and built projects that actually helped the general public. Furthermore, the check-in industry as a whole might be nearing the end of its existence. So who really runs? Tell us if you believe Houston is the street leader hiding in the shadows or the man holding the city's key. Is he the hero we didn't know we needed to draw attention to the worst parts of hip-hop politics? Or is 50 going too far? Hold on tight, because things will only get worse in our next